Okay, it looks like we're live on Instagram and hopefully Facebook will catch up here in a minute. There we go. We have liftoff. Hello, hello. Welcome to Homestead Healing and to another installment of Live with Laura Ann. Hello, I'm Laura Ann. If you don't know me, I'm your heart and healing mentor, and I empower empaths to overcome emotional overwhelm so that they can thrive in a life that they love. I have some experience with this myself. I personally am an empath and a highly sensitive person, and over the years have really, gone through the ringer in trying to figure that out. And having that realization has really helped me to hone in on tools and practices that support me in really unique ways. Hey, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining. So today, I've been getting some questions. I felt like it was really important to talk about grounding and what grounding is. So grounding, it's any activity that sort of opens your energy flow and connects you, grounds and roots you into the earth and to earth energy. And it's important to remember we are this beautiful, multifaceted being, right? And so there are different elements of self. You have the mental and emotional self, the physical self, and the spiritual, ethereal self. And grounding can apply to all facets of self, right? So with your mind and emotional self, it's having that sort of free flow and movement of your thoughts and emotions. You're not, obsessing over one or being really pulled in just one specific direction. With your body, it's about embodiment, being in your body and being physically grounded and connected to the earth. And with your spirit and your ethereal self, it's about that, again, that open connection and that energetic flow where you're connected to source energy or to the divine, to God, however you conceive of your higher power. So that's what grounding actually is. So when I think of it, it is an activity that facilitates that flow of energy within any facet of self and that connection to the earth and to source. So that's what grounding is, but why do we want to do it as an empath or as a highly sensitive person? We are very impressionable. I mean, we're very sensitive to our surroundings. And so sometimes it can feel really overwhelming, almost like you're just being tossed around on the waves of emotion and energy. And you can get, I feel like a really good example is with social media. When you see something in your feed that just totally derails you, that you weren't expecting to see. When you're really grounded, that will affect you less. And if something like that does affect you, then doing an activity that grounds you will help you to find your equilibrium again and make it less likely to stick with you throughout the rest of your day. So that's one example. Another would be, if you are going into, for example, a conflict situation where you feel like you're going to have a difficult conversation with somebody, being really grounded before you go into that conversation is going to help you not to feel overwhelmed and not to be taking on the energy of that exchange. As a hands-on healer, I practiced grounding techniques pretty much every moment of the day that I was working. And I still do as a heart and healing mentor and just as an empath in general, but I was really conscious about it when I was in the middle of my hands-on healing sessions, because that grounding activity and visualization that I was doing would allow me to be more present and hold space more effectively for the person I was working with, but also allowed me not to hold on to the energy that I was receiving. So it's another big why behind the grounding, because we're absorbing, we're being affected by energy so much of our life, so much of the time. As we ground, it allows the energy that isn't serving us to just sort of recycle through us back into the earth without getting stuck and blocked and without us holding on to it, which then causes a whole host of other issues, which I want to get more into energy itself in another video. But that's just sort of the broad strokes of what grounding actually is and why it is that we want to do it. A question I get a lot from folks is, how is grounding different from centering? And there is a difference. It is used kind of interchangeably. I feel like people tend to kind of use those words for the same reasons, and that's fine. When I visualize centering and when I think about centering and practice centering, it's more of an internal experience. It's more about collecting my own energy and being really aware of where that energy is, how it feels, what it's doing. For me, centering practices tend to be really heart focused or solar plexus focused. A centering activity could also be just a general chakra balancing meditation that allows you to, sort of hone in on your energy within all of your energy centers. But in general, the main difference that I understand between centering and grounding, centering is a more internal experience, where grounding relates more to your energy flow and how that relates to your external experience and your environment and how your environment relates to you, if that makes sense. And if you have any questions, just feel free to speak right on up about it. So we know what grounding is, why we need to do it, how it's different from centering. Now for the how of grounding. There are so many different techniques for grounding. I'm going to touch on a bunch of them, and then we're going to close out with an actual sort of visualization and meditation for grounding that I use personally on a regular basis. But there's so many different techniques, and I think it's really important, every empath is different, every day is different, every moment is different. So trust your intuition. It's nice to have a list to choose from. So just feel into what you're gravitating towards and what's resonating with you most based on what your needs are within that moment. And that can look very different from day to day. So these are all really great suggestions. And you can investigate these further on your own depending on which one you're feeling drawn to. So the number one thing that I tell people beyond grounding and just in general, but especially with grounding, hydrate. It's important for all humans, but especially for empaths. We are mostly water, and water does have a grounding quality. So the more water you drink, the better able you will be to ground. When you're dehydrated, it makes it more difficult for you to receive the benefits of whatever grounding techniques you are utilizing. So drink lots of water. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. You will reap amazing benefits just from that one simple practice that you start to incorporate into your daily life. Along those lines, taking a bath, especially with Epsom salt, is another really great way to ground. Hey, Chris, it's great to see you. Water is a really grounding element. And in addition to that, you get kind of a double whammy with a bath with Epsom salt. It's also a great cleansing tool energetically for energetic detox and physical detox as well. Nutrition is another avenue for grounding. So of course we know, as empaths in general, we're pretty sensitive. So you'll find that you're more sensitive to some of the negative effects of processed foods. The flip side of that is you're also more sensitive to the positive effects of really clean, good food. And when you're needing more grounding, notice that you can gravitate more towards foods that promote that. So you want to stay away from wheat, because that kind of, in general, I feel like a lot of us are sensitive to that. Not everyone, but most. And it kind of almost acts like a drug in your system, and we are more sensitive to the effects of drugs and alcohol. So for grounding, I would say avoid drugs and alcohol, avoid wheat, and then gravitate more towards grounding foods like really earthy foods like mushrooms, root vegetables. Those things are going to carry that earth energy and to help you ground. Exercise is another great avenue for grounding. It helps you to move your energy through your physical body. And remember, we're that multifaceted self. We always want to be thinking about the mental and emotional self, the physical self, and the spiritual self. And so exercise really helps with that sense of embodiment. You're going to be more in your body when you're doing the exercise. And it's going to help move energy through your system. So it's a really great way to get, sometimes I'll do just a quick few rounds of sun salutations when I'm feeling like I need to get some energy flow through my system. But whatever kind of exercise really calls to you, it's a really great technique for grounding. Massage is also a really good one. I know that right now, self-massage, or if you have a quarantine buddy, that's probably the only way you're going to get it. But in general, once we're through these crazy times, rest, exercise, diet, spirituality, Chris says. Yes, that's great. REDS, it's a good acronym. Massage is really good. Again, it deals with all of your bodies, right? So it's really nurturing and helps with your mental, emotional self. Physically, helps to move energy through, and then you're also working with that energetic, ethereal self as well, opening you more up to connection with source. Earthing and time in nature is another really big one. Earthing is a technique where you are really intentionally spending time with bare feet on the earth. This can be, on a forest floor, it can be in water, it can be in the grass in your yard, but just walking and standing with bare feet, connecting energetically to the earth's energy. So that's earthing. I love walking barefoot on a trail, or wearing really tiny little thin sandals where I can really feel the earth under my feet. It's just an extremely therapeutic experience. And just time in nature in general is a really good grounding technique. Then we can kind of move more into some of the bells and whistles of grounding, like essential oils. I'm not hugely versed in this, but there are some amazing essential oil folks out there. I know one of my friends who's a massage therapist, she does a lot of doTERRA stuff, and there's a really good grounding blend that doTERRA does. And lavender, it's a great go-to for a lot of different things, and grounding is one of them. It's very relaxing, it's also centering, and it's grounding. So a lot of folks tend to have lavender laying around. So give it a try. You can just put it between your hands, kind of smell it, maybe wash that scent over your body. Maybe put a little on some points around yourself so that you get a little bit of that through your day. But essential oils are also a really good technique and tool. Crystals, some good grounding crystals would be like black tourmaline. I think jasper is a good one. Again, there's lots of websites kind of dedicated to this. There's definitely an art to crystal healing. There's a healer here in Austin, Texas, and her company is Mood by Moss, and she does aura photography, but she also does crystal healing, and I'm sure she can answer any questions you have. Mood by Moss. She's a great resource on crystal healing. And then flower essences and herbs. Those are another really good tool. I don't have a huge knowledge base on this, except that I know I've been prescribed herbs by my doctor, by my herbalist. Again, here in Austin, there's just a really beautiful space called Earth Commons, run by two amazing herbalists, and they have flower essences as well. So they would be a great resource for you. I'm not sure what their website is, but you can look them up, Earth Commons. They would be a good resource on flower essences and herbs to help you with grounding. Now, to close out, meditation and visualization. This is one of my favorite techniques because it's something that you can do on the go. Visualization, you can do it with your eyes open while you're talking to another person. So that kind of goes back to that piece where if you're having a difficult conversation, or if you're in, like a work environment where you feel like it's really chaotic and you're being affected by folks, this is one of the things that you can do to help ground. Meditation, it's a little bit more, which is what we're going to close out with. It's a little bit more of you want to kind of be able to close your eyes and feel safe to just go inside of yourself. The meditation we're going to do, it's a combination, meditation, visualization, and it's one that I do all the time. I love meditation and visualization as well because it does really work on all levels of self, with that mental, emotional self, physical self, spiritual self. And so you get a lot of bang for your buck, as my mom would say. So if we don't have any questions, hey Thumper, it's great to see you. If we don't have any questions about grounding and centering before we move into this, then let's go ahead and get started. So with any meditation or visualization, I always like to start with just just a round of 3. The number 3 is great. Just deep cleansing breaths. And you can do that however feels good. I tend to like to breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. It gives me a little bit more of that feeling of expulsion. You can even do a little bit of a visualization of like inhaling light, exhaling gunk, whatever feels good for you. So we're going to start with 3 deep cleansing breaths. And if they're not already, go ahead and join me if you feel safe, if it's a good place for you, so not behind the wheel of a car, to be closing your eyes and feeling like you can come into your body. Go ahead and join me in that. Close your eyes, let your breath return to normal, and just start to feel into your body. Get your fidgets out. Maybe if you decide you're not super comfortable, you can do this laying down. You can do this sitting on the ground. You can do this sitting in a chair. You can do this standing up. Whatever feels right for you. Kind of get the fidgets out. Make sure that you're comfortable. I'm in a seat on like a beanbag, and so I'm making sure I feel like my sits bones on the bottom of my pelvis feel like they're in a good place. And once you feel comfortable in your seat or in your stance, draw your attention to your base, whether that's your feet, whether that's the base of your pelvis. And just start to allow your consciousness and your awareness and that mental internal eye to come down into your root, into your base, into your foundation. And just expand there and get a little curious and feel into that space. Just noticing how it feels. And then as you're ready, begin to visualize roots growing from that base into the earth. If you're in a seat, through your seat, maybe down the legs of the chair, let your imagination and that visualization really feel real for you. Let those roots start to grow into the soil below the foundation of the building. Until you feel and see those roots all the way deep, deep, deep into the core of the earth, connecting you to the core of the planet. And now begin to feel from those roots all the way through your base, up, 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 through your body, through your torso. And now start to visualize that you are a tree. And you have branches starting at your shoulders, your arms, reaching up towards the heavens, up through your neck, up through your head, up through your crown, reaching up towards the sky. Any kind of tree you like. You can have leaves. Maybe it's winter for you and there are no leaves on your tree. Maybe it's spring for you and you have flowers blooming. Whatever feels right in this moment. Just trust what comes up for you within your mind's eye. And now, just for the next several breaths, really feel into yourself as this tree. Feel your roots. Feel the sun shining, source energy down on you, through you. And now we're going to have this beautiful kind of energetic photosynthesis of source energy. So through your branches, through the crown of your head, feel source energy shining on you like the sun. Visualize and feel yourself soaking up that energy and pulling it down through all of the energy centers, all of your chakras, down through your torso, through your trunk, this beautiful tree that you are, down then through your roots, through the soil, all the way down to the tip of your roots at the core of the earth. And feel that flow of energy from source through you to earth, from source through you to earth, from source through you to earth. Feel yourself as that tree, just soaking in that energy, and then allow yourself to be freed of any energy that's stuck, any energy that isn't serving your highest good. Set the intention that as this energy from source flows through you, it will wash away and release any energy that does not serve your highest good. And allow that energy to flow down through your roots, to be taken and burnt up by the core of planet Earth, by the core of Mother Earth. And nothing disappears, it's just put into different forms. So as that energy that doesn't serve you goes back into the earth, it can be recycled and be reformed and then reused into energy that does serve someone else's highest good, right? It's really beautiful. So just stay with that visualization. Let yourself really feel it. Feel that energy coursing through you. Maybe it has a color. Maybe it has a specific feeling of movement. You get curious around your own visualization. What does it feel like? What does it look like? Does the color change as that energy moves from head, from branches to base to roots? Maybe you notice that your breath is slowing and feeling more natural, more in depth. And then offer a little prayer of gratitude for Source and for Earth, for receiving and releasing, for the light and for the dark. And this is also a great time to set an intention for yourself as you move through the rest of your day, if you feel called to do that. And then as you're ready, just begin to come back into this room and allow the tree to remain. Know that that is always available to you, that your branches and your roots are always there. And then as you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into the here and to the now of this physical space. This is such a life-changing technique. If you do this at the beginning of your day, or when you're having a challenging moment, it can just make a world of difference for you. I find myself, especially back when I was doing a lot of hands-on healing, I just visualized myself as that tree all the time. And it really helps to be more present within yourself. And it helps with that groundedness and that centering simultaneously, which allows for you to, not be as affected by the outside stimuli and energies and emotions. And, as a sensitive soul, it's so easy to, take things personally or to take on that energy and emotion. And this really helps with that feeling of support, because we're always being held by Mother Earth, and we are always being supported by source energy. And so doing this visualization and meditation helps to remember that and to really keep that in the forefront of your experience, which can be really beautiful. I hope that this has been helpful. And if you have any questions, please, oops.
Like,
let me know.
we're just waiting to connect to Instagram here. For some reason, my internet's been having really
with my technology. It's always a journey. But if you have any questions, please let me know. I do have a YouTube channel where I will be uploading these videos as we move forward. So if you ever miss one, that's a great place to go. It's the Homestead Healing YouTube channel. Another good technique for grounding is embodiment meditations, and I do have one on my website. So if you go to homesteadhealingatx.com and then scroll all the way down to the bottom of the homepage, you'll see embodiment meditation listed there for you for free download as a little gift from me to you. And I'm always uploading new content to my site as free gifts to help you on your healing journey. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, it's at Homestead Healing. And on Facebook, you can friend me, Laura N. Gilpin. I also have a Facebook group for female identifying empaths and highly sensitive people. It's Homestead Healing Circle. So if you want to help co-create a community of empaths, I invite you to join the Facebook group, Homestead Healing Circle. And if you have any questions, you can always just slide into my DMs. You can send me an email, laura@homesteadhealingatx.com. And I hope to see you again. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been such a pleasure to share this space with you. I see you. I love you. And until next time, be well. Namaste.